Hey there, Mary Sheila here with BioYouth Labs, and I am talking about blood sugar, which is one of the most important things that we can talk about because we are 70% water, and so our blood is traveling everywhere. It is the transport system for all of our vitamins and minerals to get and nourish every single cell in the body, and is also the detoxification pathways for things to travel. It's like our inner rivers, right? Taking water, nutrients, and then bringing back the waste products so we can eliminate it. So we have to take care of our waterways, just like on planet Earth, we have to take care of our water, right? We don't want polluted water because we need to drink water to keep our bodies wet and hydrated, right? So what we want to make sure we're doing with taking care of our waterways, right? We want to make sure it's not like our waterways aren't polluted, right? And I hate to say it, but one of the things that can really throw the balance of our inner waters off is added sugars. So we definitely have to minimize the intake of sugary drinks and candies and processed foods with added sugars, okay? Because what happens is these can spike our blood sugar. The same time, oftentimes when you are eating added sugar, it kind of lowers some of your immune response for the next couple hours by, I think it's around 50%. I might be wrong on that, but it's like significantly high that your blood sugar, when your blood sugar is elevated, if you've eaten the sugar, some of your immune response really lowers. So, you want your immune response to be robust wherever you are. So when and it's important to understand the impact of added sugars on, it's important to understand the impact of added sugars on blood sugar, the potential benefits of reducing that intake, and it's really essential for maintaining, again, blood sugar levels and overall well-being. I mean, some people, like myself included, I find if I eat too much sugar, I don't even sleep good. So it's like, oh, wait a minute, I got to think before I eat. Oh, if I eat this dessert after dinner, I'm probably going to have a terrible night's sleep. And then I also think, well, what do I want to do tomorrow? And I'm like, oh yeah, I want to do this, this, and this tomorrow. Do I want to be all groggy and tired because I didn't sleep because I ate the stupid dessert? No. So that if I can have that little moment of thought, then I can say, oh, no, thank you. I'm good, right? So let's talk first about what added sugars are. Added sugars are sugars and syrups that are added to food and beverages during processing and preparation of, processed foods, right? These sugars can include sucrose, which is table sugar, high fructose corn syrup, which is, from all the corn that we have growing in our country, and various other sweeteners. Consuming foods and drinks high in added sugars can lead to rapid spikes in blood sugar levels for several reasons. Number one, these added sugars are quickly digested and absorbed into the bloodstream, causing a sudden increase in blood glucose levels. Foods high in added sugars often provide little nutritional value beyond calories, which can lead to weight gain and insulin resistance. So yeah, they might taste good, but they're not doing anything for us except for, adding more calories and probably contributing us to gaining too much weight that we don't want to have. Sugary foods and drinks can also lead to more cravings and overeating, making it really challenging to control portion size and calorie intake. Now, how do we benefit, right? It's like, okay, great. Yeah, maybe you knew that stuff already, but when you decrease, what are the benefits of decreasing it? Like, what are you going to get out of that? When you reduce your sugar intake, it's going to help you maintain blood sugar levels that are stable, and it's going to reduce the risk of insulin spikes and crashes, which means you're probably going to have more energy because your body can take in the energy from the foods that you're eating. Lowering added sugar consumption can support weight loss and help prevent obesity, which is a major risk factor for type 2 diabetes. For a lot of people too, I notice that as we get older, sometimes our joints wear out and we need to have a hip replacement or a knee replacement or a back surgery or whatever. And what's really important is that it can be so much easier to go through those things when we're at a better weight. So all that excess sugar is not going to help that in any way. And often when people eliminate those things, they start to naturally drop weight much more easily than when they're eating those things. Reducing added sugars in your diet can also enhance insulin sensitivity, allowing cells to better respond to insulin and regulate blood sugar more effectively. lowering added sugar intake can reduce the risk of heart disease, as excessive sugar consumption is linked to elevated blood pressure, cholesterol levels, and inflammation. And another benefit is that lowering added sugar consumption is associated with a decreased risk of developing type 2 diabetes. And that is so important. Again, that's just really where we want to turn the corner as each one of us, and even as a nation and as a world. We want to reverse the trend that we're on. Less sugar consumption can lead to a better oral hygiene and a lower risk of dental cavities and gum disease. Reducing added sugars can help maintain consistent energy levels, reducing the likelihood of energy crashes and fatigue. Okay, so the bad, the good, and how. Let's talk a little bit about some tips for reducing added sugar intake. Number one is check your food labels for added sugar, as they can be found in many processed and packaged foods, even those that don't even taste sweet. And I will say that there's about 50 different names for sugar on a label. And I think they do that. Sometimes it might be textural things, but I think they do that too, so that if you look at a label, you know the first ingredient is usually the most. So if they put, some white table sugar and corn syrup and honey and maltodextrin, or, there's so many different names for it, they can list those 6 different things all throughout the label, and you're going to look at it and you're not going to think that it has any sugar. So you can look at the total carbs, and you can also look at added sugars to see how many sugars did they add into this, right? The other thing you can do is limit sugary beverages. Avoid or reduce the consumption of sugary beverages like soda, fruit juice, and sweetened iced teas. And this is because when sugar comes in liquid form, there is no filter, no buffer to just totally increasing our blood sugar, because it's liquid form. Our digestive system is like, I don't have to do anything here. Boom. The sugar comes into the bloodstream. If it's fructose, the sugar comes right into the liver. And what happens in the liver is the liver converts this into fat, right? And that's high triglycerides. So if you have triglycerides in your lipid panel, oh, there's a lot of fat running through my blood. But that also means if it's elevated, if it's flagged as being high, that's going to show that there's fatty liver. We call that non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And that is part of the whole, metabolic disease that we're talking about with diabetes. So get rid of those things. Drink water as best that you can. If you need to use like stevia or something, go that direction. But it's really important to not consume liquid sugar as best that you can. And then, as much as you can, opt for whole unprocessed foods such as fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins, beans, and dairy without added sugars. Cook at home. When you prepare meals at home, you know exactly what is in those foods, and you control the ingredients, you avoid hidden added sugars. It's funny, I just went recently to a Thai place that was really delicious. It's a restaurant that I like. I was on vacation. I'd been there before, and I took a bite and I was like, woo, they use a lot of sugar in this, right? And so if I was going to cook Thai food, I don't think I put any sugar in my Thai food. So even though it's delicious, it still was very sweet. And if you do use natural sweeteners, as I mentioned, like maybe even honey and maple syrup or stevia or anything like that, do that in moderation, right? Because you don't want to keep this super sweet, like craving all the time and always give into it, even if it's, like some kind of alternative or artificial sweetener. Like, do your best to just really eat whole foods and go with fruit, and sometimes when I talk about the fruit thing, I'm like, yeah, I know. Sometimes you might think of your mom, like, I don't want fruit, Mom. My mom used to say, like, I want something sweet. Have a piece of fruit. No, not that. That's not what I meant. But when you start giving into your sweet cravings and having a little bit of fruit, it actually starts to really be satisfying. If you're used to consuming a lot of added sugar, consider gradually reducing your intake to make the transition easier. Learn to identify hidden sources of added sugars in foods and beverages. By reducing your intake, you can better support your blood sugar. You'll be able to maintain a healthy weight or lose weight if that's a goal, and reduce the risk of various chronic diseases, including diabetes and heart disease. It's an essential step towards improving overall health and well-being. I hope this is helpful. It's helpful for me to say all these things because, you know, we really have to be like a detective and on it when we're going to be eating processed foods to make sure we're not consuming sugar or just too much sugar in a day. It's really important. One little last thing I'll tell you is that I had one of my students once, and she was telling me about I used to teach at a nutrition college, and she was telling me about one of her roommates, and she was saying she's really healthy, but she gets sick all the time. And she gets sick as she's a teacher, like a roaming teacher. She had some kind of job. And she said she would, you know, and then she started telling me, well, she usually goes into the teacher's room and she eats some of the donuts, and then she's working with the kids and the kids are sick and then she gets sick. So remember, when you eat sugar, your immune system lowers for a while. So, you know, sometimes you might be strategic and say, you know what, I'm not going to eat sugar at this party because there's a lot of people here and I don't want to get sick, right? Little things like that can go a long way to helping you to reach your goals. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.